Hey guys, it's Sonia and we are back from a beautiful walk today. It is gorgeous here. It is Easter Monday. We are around the house today working on some projects, and one of the projects I'm happy to get to is some pieces that I recently thrifted with you guys, and I told you that I wanted to pick these up for a flip and get creative with them. 99 cents a piece. In my mind, I'm going to view these as canvases and work on them today. The reason why I decided to pick these up for a project is because, well, if you read on the back of one of them, it says for decoration only, and you can feel it. It doesn't have that glossy, like dinnerware, right? Painting that would be, you'd have to do a bunch more, just, priming and getting the surface ready. This is a decorative painted plate already, and it's porous. Listen, it's rough. If I want, I can take my sand block and even rough it up a little bit more. That just gets it to be even more accepting of the paint. It's just like when you get your nails done and they buff a little bit, so that way your paint stays on longer. So I think you can definitely, like, if you know how to paint and do some fun little quick projects with flowers, or paint whatever you love to paint. For me, I love to paint flowers and whimsical things. So I'm just gonna flip these and then paid 99 cents, but by the time I'm done here, and I'll show you my steps, so if you come across something that you wanna paint, it could be a box, it could be anything, but if you have the skill set to put a few little cute paintings on something, totally change the look of it, know what to do, then you can increase the value significantly. All right, so let's just pick one to get started with. We'll go with this guy over here. Got my water, got my brushes, got my paper towel that just fell on the floor. And we're gonna need a brush. Always pick a brush that's not gonna be too giant. Like, this guy is pretty big. If I wanted to do some full coverage with it, I'd pick this one. But for today, I'm gonna pick probably something like this size right here, which you see my nail, it's not that big. It's actually, it says on it, it's 3/8 of an inch, so not that big. This will be perfect. And also I got another one that I can draw some stuff with. So I tend to like, get my brush a little bit wet. What I like to do is be able to sketch it out first. I envision this to be just, again, a decorative plate, nothing that will be eaten off of, rather a decorative piece that maybe somebody will store their rings and things into, as an example. Or set it up like this here on a little stand, and then you got a little piece of art and it's decorative. Okay, so let me think for a second here. I'm not going to paint a base on it because actually I'm going to let a little of this color come through. You'll see when I do some negative painting that might show through. If it does, it does. And you can just let that play into your piece of art. Given the shape of this, I'm gonna make maybe some ferns or something, some foliage at around the edge. So I'm gonna paint some ferns, and you do paint ferns. I like to do, like, think about the new growth at the very edge is gonna be smaller, and then as the older stuff is gonna be bigger. So just think about that when you're painting. Smaller up here, bigger leaves down here. But I tend to paint pretty impressionistic, so what that means is, it's flowers, and you probably know it's going to be some greenery of some sort, but we don't get carried away with perfection. Okay, I think I'm gonna like start there. Next up, we're gonna go to this guy, get him wet there. And I think I'm going to do the foliage first. Remember that while you will add a little bit of greenery on top of your flowers when you're done, just to bring it together, the majority, at least this is the way I'm playing mine out, is my flowers are gonna stand in front. They're not gonna be hidden by all the greenery. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and start with some green first. I might even put a little black into my green first, because that will make the deepest green. And then, so I tend to work dark to light, so a little bit of black in it. And by going in right now, while honestly this is still wet. You can see it. It's just moments after I painted it. So already I'm getting blending that will happen because that black paint is not dried yet. So it's gonna blend with the green. So let's just start there first. Then we set the big guys down here. Not trying to be perfect. Beautiful. And then we'll bring some greenery down around here because we don't want it to be just in one place. Maybe even dab a little bit on the center. I'm gonna go over with some more green on here, but I'll let that set for a little bit. And now we'll work on some flowers to give all that paint a little chance to just start to dry. I love to blend colors wet on wet, but I've just blended 2 wet colors, and what will happen is if you add too many colors at one time, things will just muddy out and you will have lost that dark green and black or whatever color you're using. So I'm thinking for down here, I don't know, I think I might do some, I might be kind of crazy today and put some orange down here. Just to make some orange base. Again, it's blending with a little bit of the black, lots of bees there. So it gives me a really dark color. I like that. I like that it's mixed in. I can see a little bit of the green there too. So when you are painting and you're picking up different colors that you already have down, what happens is it becomes part of the same family and it feels like, you know, like it belongs. Okay, let's let that dry. Okay, well, not dry, but just kind of leave that alone for a little bit. Now I'm going to go back on the little fern type foliage we have, and I'm going to prepare a little bit of a lighter green. And remember, if you have white, you can always make any green that you love. So bigger out here and then smaller towards the new growth. Bigger out here. So what's everybody up to today? Our shop is open. My team is holding down the fort, which I am thankful for. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, isn't that so pretty? Like, look at that already, just the coming to life. Love that. We'll put a little bit of the green down here around the center of the flower as well. Hit a few little spots down here too. Okay, I shut down the overhead light just so that there wouldn't be so much reflection because everything is wet and just reflecting right now. It's really pretty. Look at that, guys. Okay, so hopefully you can see it really well. All right, so the next thing that we are going to do is, let's go back to our flowers here. This time I'm going to take a little bit of yellow and let it mix in with that orange. I'm going bold. Remember, I work darkest to light. So by doing this, putting your darkest colors down, and you might be thinking, but it's orange and it's yellow. But yeah, but it's still darker for what I have in mind. So if I'm gonna make these flowers appear lighter, then I need something that's darker. And these colors are definitely darker. Let's work on the center a little bit. I'm gonna take the back side of my brush right here, just a smaller one if you have it, and put a little bit of a dot in each one. You can put a couple if you want. Some of these might get captured in our next layer, but it just all adds kind of the texture that we want, the light, the bits, the interest bits. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do is go back here with, let's go with some white on top of this, because we don't want it to dry too much. We want it to blend in with that the greens. We have multiple greens on here now, the light greens, and just add some brighter bits before it dries completely. The faster you go when you're doing these sorts of paintings, the better, because you don't overthink it. And if you want loose, that's about it right there, right? And cover. I know, like around these here, I like to see a little foliage, so I'm just taking my brush and really, that's it. That's about it. Maybe one more right here. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. I'm gonna add a little brown to this as well. So in the center in there, again, you can take the back of your brush, anyone that you got, or you can use a tiny brush, whatever you want. But I'm just gonna add a little bit of brown earthiness into the center. Just put it anywhere you want, right there. And then I think I'm gonna pick up a little bit of that same brown and drop a little bit of brown in around there just to indicate shadow. And obviously you're gonna see some brown outside if you're in the yard, if you're looking in the trees. So, you know, black is very dramatic, brown is it just brings things softer. You get the nature touch. Okay, that's about enough right there. That, already loving this, and we're not quite finished with this yet, but look, I mean, if I saw that, my eye would definitely be drawn to that. That is my brand. Like, as somebody who sells and the type of things I sell, the whimsical, the magical, the floral, the abstract, the loose, the fun, that's what I love right here. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna add some blue in here. We know that blue and orange, yeah, blue, yellow, they all go really, really nice together. I'm gonna make up a really pretty blue here on my paint palette. And for those of you who, those of you who love the color that we made in the past called Stormy Forest, you will know that, by combining blue and green, you can make the most beautiful bluish gray. Gorgeous. Look at that. How pretty is that? So what I'm going to do now is, this is called negative painting, where you really just loosely, again, not trying to overthink anything. I can even go to a smaller brush. Do I have a smaller brush here? I might. Yeah, let's go with this one over here. This one is a bit of an angled brush. It's just smaller. We'll get him wet so he picks up the paint nice. And go back in again. This little angle, since this is ferns, and ferns have like a very specific pattern to them, I want them to keep them kind of pointy on the edges versus rounding them out with a brush that's too big. All right, so when my brush goes in here, this is kind of like, because this is a slope, this is gonna pick up some paint, and that's okay. That's part of the beauty of painting loosely. So we're just gonna paint around what we want. We're not gonna be too crazy. Take some more blue and white here. Now if I want, I could cut probably, let me see if I like it. Do I want to wipe off some of this brown edge? I think I do. I like that brown edge showing. So just don't go too far, because if you want to, wipe it off, go in and wipe it off after. You could also put some water on your paper towel if you want to try to get it off that way. But right now I'm just trying to get any of this kind of sandy tan color. I see here, this beige color. I don't want to paint over what I've already painted. I'm going to come up to the edge of it. fill in this little section here. Very nice. I'm gonna put a little bit of water over here onto this edge. I like a distressed edge, so it doesn't have to be perfect. This corner. Cool. Okay. So this was our fern, flowers, kind of like blue sky over here. I might even take a little bit of a darker blue and go over here a little bit because this is looking kind of light over here. Just making up a darker one. The white kind of made that. Wanted to add some more vibrancy there. So we've got our plate pretty much all covered now. So now we're going to raise it all back up so it doesn't feel like it's all kind of blurred in here. So I'm going to go into the white. My white might have got a little green into it, but that's okay. And I want it to blend into the yellow orange that I already put down. Do you see how it's making these really pretty now colors? Like that. We can go in with a little more, just a little more white. The more you do it, the more muddier, the more lighter it's going to get. So your white on the top can be your brightest highlights. Okay, I like that a lot. Put a few little petals kind of coming out from it. Now let's work on the green. I'm going to do same sort of thing, green, or rather white with a little bit of green that I already have on my palette. I'm sure I have some green left over here. Okay, got some green again. Just gonna follow my work where I had those fern split. Just to make them feel like they didn't get all squashed. Love that. Boy, that is so pretty. Okay, let's add a little bit of true white since that was a white green. And just watch these leaves come bright again. Not covering the entire leaves, but just little bits of interest. and go back into the white. If you feel like your paint kind of sets up when it dries and you lose a little bit of that vividness, the whiteness, because it just dries together, come back again, just build it up a little bit more. Boy, I am loving that. Okay, let me do my edge. So I kept my brown edge kind of cleaned off there, but I feel like I want to bring, like this is a different brown that was on the plate versus was actually in the piece of artwork itself. So we're gonna pick the same black that we used and we're gonna tie it together by doing some edging here. This is so pretty. Love it. Once this is dried, you can flip it over and paint the bottom side if you want or not. I might just keep it brown, to be honest with you. Just clean the bottom and you can sign the back as well. Oh my gosh. And oh, you know what? I forgot to add one of my favorite things. All right, I can't find my favorite gold. Where did I put it? But I will settle for this gold. You can pretty much use any gold that you want, but I love a little bit of shine, and it's obviously yellow, so it gives you a warm tone, gives you some yellow, which will really set this off. And if you're familiar with the color yellow ochre, in my mind I kind of think about it like that. I'm just going to get a little bit on here, and we can put a little bit in the very center, not too much though, just a little bit. You can hear my plate starting to stick. It is setting up. So there's our center right here, and a few pieces maybe where you can find some brown if you just want to add a little bit of gold in there. Again, so you're carrying that color somewhere else, but not too much. I think that's about it. Okay, so we added a little bit of gold. Our white is coming through. And there we go. Now I have 2 more plates to do, which I'm going to go ahead, and while that one's drying, I will work on the other 2, and I will show you real quick how I do these. So I decided that since I have a lot of color left on my palette, I'm going to use this kind of, light beige cream color, and use that to be my color that I'm choosing to do the negative painting with versus the blue that you saw me use earlier. So that ought to make it look pretty cool. So these 2, when I'm painting in batches, honestly, when I get towards the end and I take a look at what's in my paint palette, I like to be able to make use of what I have. So I'll start another painting, put it on something. So in this case, I have enough to make this beautiful cream color. So these are really soft, peachy kind of color right now, which I do love. So this is the blue one, and then this is the more creamy white one. Actually, this would be kind of their corner point right here. Boy, I think these are so pretty. So, future Sonia here. I decided to change up that blue plate. Do you see it there at the top? And I just, at the end, I just used whatever I had on my palette and just kind of brought them all together. So all 3 of them feel like they just belong all in this set. This was a fun play project, and I hope you get into something fun too. Don't forget that when they dry, make sure you sign and seal.